What is up, everybody? This is Alex from HETV, and today I'm talking about there's a new Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Everyone is hyped for it, everyone is shivering with anticipation, and this poster looks like a Saturday morning cartoon, and the movie might as well be a Saturday morning cartoon that cost, what, $165 million? Not including marketing. The first Star Wars movie in cinemas for 7 years or so, and I thought this looked kind of funny from a Glup kind of level. This is, not to spoil my rating right at the beginning here, but this is 10 Glups out of 10. Like, if you love your Glups, it doesn't really get much more Gluppy than this. But then you get to the shitto part. Like, what is I guess it's technically a movie, even though every character is static and are in exactly the same state at the beginning and end of the movie. And there's not really a plot, there's not really anything hopeful about the setting because we know what comes after. The script is utterly atrocious, with half-assed performances from everybody, including Pedro Pascal, Jeremy Allen White. I laughed out loud when it said Martin Scorsese in the opening credits. And honestly, I think the most egregious thing about this movie is that runtime. The pacing is awful. You can almost see in the structure of it where the episodic nature of the show could be a cut-off point as a cliffhanger or a siloed off episode of something. Wow, Apocalypse Now Star Wars? Yes! Didn't they already do this too? Didn't The Force Awakens literally do that? My mistake. They did it with TIE fighters before. This time it's X-Wings. I guess this is what Star Wars is now. It's Glupfest. And you know what? I would kind of be okay with that to an extent if it was maybe 90 minutes max. If you don't care about a single character or like developing anything or changing the direction of anything and you just want 90 minutes of action, sure, go for it. That's a funny frame. I guess the fear is the lesson Disney learned from Moana 2 was that you don't have to try, and sometimes brands and IP is all you need to make $1 billion. We don't know how well it's doing as of me recording this, so we'll see as time goes on if this actually pays off. But I felt nothing, really. I was imagining in my head, wow, if I could tell myself this, if I could go back to me in like 2005 and say there's a Star Wars film that's come out and you're gonna feel nothing. You're gonna feel less than a fart. This film isn't even a satisfying fart. It's like a fart that you think is gonna be like, oh, this might even be wet, but then it's just like just like a little squirt of air. That's this movie. It's like a little squirt of air. The best performance in the movie is Baby Yoda, who doesn't have a single line and is a puppet. And, the production design is good. It's just all in service of nothing. A bunch of like set pieces loosely strung together. And man, it was reminiscent of that 2008 Clone Wars movie that launched the show, which I remember two things about. One, it had Rotta the Hutt, iconic. But two, I remember dragging my dad to see this because I was so excited at the prospect of seeing a Star Wars movie on the big screen. I thought that was over. And fast forward nearly 20 years. Oh my god. And it's a similar thing, but just more money, and Jon Favreau, I guess, directed it. Anyone could have directed this. 3D printed kind of vibes. Disney, they can't learn. They can't figure out. They'll stumble into something good and ruin it so quickly. They were so excited at the popularity of the Mandalorian Disney Plus show and Baby Yoda being this phenomena. They just blew their load and there's nothing left to do with these characters really, so all they can really do is do a Glupfest, which, I mean, you get a Glupfest. You do get Glupfest, 10 out of 10 Glups. And boy, there are actions. You blink and there's new actions. There were little flashes of creativity. It's like a robot fight towards the end that I don't think it literally was stop motion, but was kind of animated to look like it in part. I wish it was more varied with that kind of stuff. Easiest paycheck Pedro Pascal's ever gotten. And Sigourney Weaver, and most people in the movie. Dave Filoni's cringy cameos. It just feels like it's stuck in a nostalgia loop where all it has is iconography and marketing and this toy thing that it's going for, which has been, admittedly a part of Star Wars since the beginning, but that's all it has. So with Dave Filoni seemingly being the arbiter of this franchise now, it's like all he knows how to do is to just put recognizable glups in a sequence. This is and then storytelling. Sigourney Weaver even admitted that she only wanted to do it just so she could be in a room with Baby Yoda. And man, my audience was packed. I was kind of surprised. I thought this was going to bomb. It might still bomb, but people were laughing. There's some cuteness there. I like the puppetry. It's just in service of something so uninteresting because they concluded this story in the second season of The Mandalorian, and since then it's just kind of been running in place. There's nothing for it to do anymore. It doesn't have any integrity as a story anymore. So yeah, throw in the key jangling and the glups to distract you. And there's a glup action scene so glup-worthy that I was like, you know what, if this was the whole movie, I'd be there for that, honestly. There's like a glup coliseum where 100 glups fight each other, and it's fucking insane. Jeremy Allen White sleepwalks his way through this vocal performance where he just doesn't seem to care, even though that's probably my favorite character in the movie. And the only character dynamic at play, really, where he's like, oh, my dad was Jabba the Hutt, which does just feed into we're stuck with the same small galaxy syndrome again and again and again, has to always be connected in some way. But he's like living in the shadow of his father, trying to reinvent himself. But yeah, nothing interesting on a character level, nothing interesting from a concept level, really. It is just a glut movie. I don't know what, that is the only way to describe it. I don't know how to add depth to commentary on a review of this movie when there is no depth to even unpack. Maybe that's all it needs to be, is a bunch of just like monsters and fighting just for the sake of monsters and fighting. But there's no deeper philosophy or character moments or character arcs or anything particularly noteworthy. And sure, it's inoffensive, it's watchable. There are a couple of sequences I thought were okay or fun, but I couldn't escape the feeling of like, man, is this really where we're at, guys? Yeah, this is how I felt the whole movie. Drowning. The fact there's not one surprise, there's nothing you can spoil, there's nothing. Kids and babies might enjoy it, and I enjoy Rotta, I guess, because I'm a man-child. There's some crazy music choices, which I didn't even dislike, really. But there was one early on that kind of sounded like when I do that IHETV glitching. I guess audiences are into it so far. But I don't know, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. It's impossible to escape the feeling that this could have been released on Disney Plus as a special. And man, there was a point in the movie where I was like, oh, that maybe they could actually like conclude a character here and actually have this be an endpoint for something. But they just can't help themselves. They're stuck in this bind of, well, if it makes $1 billion, then we want to make another $1 billion, right? So we can't do anything interesting. Everything has to be static. And maybe I'd be slightly more favorable to this if, yeah, it was about 90 minutes max. There's just not enough going on to justify that last hour in particular. It feels glacial towards the end. And yeah, what do I even give this? Like a, I'm torn between a 1.5 or a 2. I need to mull on this. I need to marinate on this. There's a lot to break down here. Okay, how about we settle with this? A 1.5, but with a like, because of all the glups. The glups deserve a like, because that is just so hardcore with the glups and the Clone Wars references and the... Don't you love references, everybody? That's what movies are. They're vehicles for pop vinyls. That's what movies should be. So the real conundrum of this movie is, which pop vinyl do I invest in? Because there's a lot of glups to choose from here. Which ones are going to be the valuable ones? I'm thinking maybe Rotta's a must. Rotta is definitely a must. Zeb as well. He's one of my goats, for sure. Too many Baby Yodas. I can only settle on one, maybe 2. The 2 cutest. That one's in the action scene, so that one's, yeah, definitely deserved. Oh, is that the chess piece from the... Yeah, that's another glup I need. God, I can't remember the name of this glup. We've gone past the glup of no return. The point of no glup return. Buy pop vinyls, everybody. So let me know your thoughts on the Mandalorian and the Grogu, the Baby Yoda movie. They should have called it the Baby Yoda movie. It would make at least 100 million more. Whatever. I hate Star Wars.